have this adjacency matrix representation. Okay, so what we will have, we'll have a n cross n matrix. Okay, and for that matrix, G will have a 2D array or 2D array like G 1 to n and 1 to n, which will actually which will represent the adjacency matrix. Okay, and n is the number of vertices in that graph. And as you know that Gij is equals to 1 if there are a vertices between I and j. Okay, otherwise it is 0. So this is how we'll represent a graph in our problem. Okay, and so along with this, there are some theory which tells that a graph with degree d can be surely colored with d plus 1 colors. Okay, so if you look at the previous slide, this graph uh, this graph so this graph actually had the degree 4, right? So it can surely be colored with 4 plus 1, that is 5 colors. Okay, but here we are needing only four colors, right? We can color this graph with 4 colors only. So if we can color it with 4 colors, we can obviously color it with 5 colors. So minimum 4 colors will be required for this graph, right? So that is what it is telling, that if a graph is with degree d, then we can surely color it with d plus 1 colors. Okay, and a graph is planar. I think you already know what is a planar graph. A graph is planar if it can be drawn in a plane such that no two edges crosses each other. Okay, so suppose there is a so if you have a three vertices graph, this is a planar graph. Okay, because no edge crosses each other, right? And suppose we have another vertex, and if we connect these two, this is again a planar graph. Okay, but if you connect this one, will it be a planar graph? So the thing is, yes, this can be a planar graph. What we have to do, we have to represent it in a different way. Okay, so we will have four edges, right? Sorry, four vertices, and if you represent the left this graph in a different manner, so that this looks like that this is not a planar graph according to the definition, right? Because it is telling that no two edges should cross each other, right? But here you can see the edges are crossing, but you can represent it in a different way so that these edges doesn't cross. Okay, so if you represent this graph in this way, so you can see that this graph can be represented in a plane without crossing any edge with each other. Okay, but not all graphs can be manipulated like this. You cannot for all the graphs you cannot uh, just tweak the edges so that it doesn't cross each other. Okay, in case of you have five edge graph. Okay, sorry, five nodes graph, and if you connect all of them together, so to connect all of them together, this graph will not be a this graph will not be a color planar graph, because you cannot tweak the edges here such that no two edges crosses each other. Okay, so there will be at least few edges that will be crossing each other in this case. So a planar graph if is a planar a graph is a planar if it can be drawn in a plane such that no two edges cross each other. Okay, so it is seen that for a planar graph, four colors are sufficient. Okay, initially it is thought that five colors is sufficient, but later it is found that four color is sufficient uh, to draw a colored graph to draw a graph which is a to color a graph which is a planar graph. Okay, any map represented as a planar graph. So any map in this world. I mean, the map that we have seen, map, political map of India, right? It has so many steps, right? So many steps. So you can see that that can also be represented as a planar graph. Okay. So any map can be represented as a planar graph. So map coloring problem can be reduced to your graph coloring problem. Okay. So any map actually uh, can be colored with four colors only. Okay. So thinking about the solution. So I think you got by now the idea of how to color the how to what the problem description of graph coloring problem is. Okay, so this is a decision problem. We will be given a graph and we will be given the number of colors available to us, and we have to tell that whether we can color the graph with only this number of colors such that adjacent no two adjacent vertices has same color. Okay. So how will get into the solution? Okay, so since m is the number of colors, so we'll represent the colors by their numbers. Okay, like 1, 2, 3, 4 up to m. Okay, and then we can think the solution as n tuples. Okay, from x1 uh, x2 up to xn. Okay, so xi denotes the color of node I. So this will be your solution tuple or solution vector where xi or denotes the color of node I. Okay, so what is the explicit constant? So for all of these x1 x2 you can assign at most you can assign the colors from 1 to m, right? So we can explain the explicit constant like 1 less than xa less than equals to xa less than equals to m, right? Because uh, you can color a node ith node with color from 1 to m, right? So this gives us the search space of order of m to the power n, right? Because there are n nodes and each of them can be colored with n color, right? So the possible number of coloring is m to the power n. Okay. So the state space tree. So if we now draw the state space tree, it will have that have that will have the m degree and height n plus 1. So if we have n vertices, so initially this is the vertex that represents the problem state, and like no node has been colored. Okay. Now you have m available option, right? So you can color this node with m colors, right? So those m colors. So first node you can color with m colors. So you will have m number of option available. So this is your x1. This label actually represent your color of x1. So this is your for x1 equals to 1. This is for x1 equals to 2, and like this up to m it will be spread. Okay. So this means uh, the first node is colored with color 1. This means the first node is colored with color 2, like that. Okay, so there will be the degree of the tree will be m, right? And now for it, once you have colored the once you have chosen the color for m for x1, you have to choose the color for x2, I mean the second vertex, right? So again for the second vertex you will have m options available, right? So again for the second vertex you will have one color, two color, up to m options available. So for all of them, uh, so there will be an height of n plus 1, right? So the first one denotes your the the state where no none of the vertices is colored, and the rest, and this this level denotes your the color of the x1 color of the first vertex, right? And this level will tell you the color of the second vertices, like that. Options available for the second vertices, like that. So so this steps test, if you draw in full, you can find that the degree of the tree is m and height will be n plus 1. Okay, because there are n vertices available to you. So each node at level high has n children, as I shown, corresponding to n possible assignment. Okay. nodes at level n plus 1 are the leaf nodes representing the solution steps. So at the bottom we will have the leaf nodes. Okay, so in this leaf nodes you actually have all the possible assignments. Okay, that is your n plus 1. So nodes at level n plus 1 are the leaf nodes representing the solution steps of the problem. So we will have this number of states, this number of nodes available as the leaf node. Okay, now implicit constant told tells us that no two adjacent vertices will have same color, right? So we have like xi not equals to xj when ij is an edge, right? Or gij is equals to 1, right? So this means that we cannot have same color for the vertices which are adjacent to each other, right? So coming to the algorithm, so with this we can write an algorithm for the problem. Okay, so what we will have, we'll be given the adjacency matrix Z, will be given the array solution vector x. Okay, so where xi denotes the color of ith vertices, right? And we have to find out a color for vertex k in the range 0 to n. Okay, so for this function is it is taking the adjacency vertex, the solution vector of size n, and k is the vertex we are going to color, and n is the number of vertices, number of colors available to you. Okay, we are assuming that x 1 to xk minus 1 is populated with valid values. Okay, so this is the property of backtracking algorithm, right? Whenever you are passing this k, it assumes that from 1 to k minus 1 is assigned, in the solution vector it is assigned some valid colors or some valid values. Okay, based on that the kth value will be chosen. Okay, the color of the kth vertices will be chosen. So what this next value will do, so the next value will assign a valid color in the solution vector. Okay, so xk will be assigned a valid color if a valid color is available. Valid color means the color has to be less than equals to m. Okay, starting with 1 less than equals to m. So xk will be assigned a valid color if it can be done. Otherwise it will be assigned 0. So so if it is found that all the adjacent nodes have occupied all the colors, right, all other colors, so all the adjacent nodes of the k vertex has occupied all the colors, so it cannot color it, right? So it will assign 0 to xk. Okay, so xk 0 means this particular node cannot be colored with the vertex, with the options available. Okay, so how it will work? So it will okay, so another point is all uh, the solution vector matrix from 1 up to k minus 1 is assigned some valid values. Okay, so from 1 to k minus 1 it will having some values from 1 to m. Okay, it will having values between 1 to m. Okay, and rest of the thing, that is from k up to n in the solution vector, we will have 0 values. Okay, so we'll start with 0 and we'll check whether we can assign valid values for k. Okay, so the thing is initially the solution vector is assigned with 0 only. Okay, so all the values from 1 to n will be 0, and then what will happen, then using this algorithm we will assign the values one by one. Okay, so when we are coming to assign the uh, value for kth vertices, all the vertices from 1 to k minus 1 is already assigned. Okay, but the vertices from k to n is not assigned, and since initially they are initialized with 0, so these 0 values will remain from k to n. Okay, so now what we are having, so we are doing xk is equals to xk plus 1. So we'll have 0 value at this moment. So 0 plus 1 modulo m plus 1. Okay. So this is how we are starting. So for whenever we are coming with a k vertex, we are first checking whether can we assign the color 1 over here. Okay. And so what it is doing next, so it is assigned a color valid color. Okay. So it is trying to assign a valid color. Okay. And so we are doing a modulus with m plus 1, right? So a modulus with m plus 1 can give the output from 0 to 0 to m, right? So so see, this xk is initially assigned 0, so it will be 0 plus 1 modulo m like 1. Okay. So suppose m is greater than 1. Okay. And likewise, when it come to the next iteration, it will be 1 plus 1 2 and modulo m. So it will give the modulus value. So if there is only two colors available, so this modulo will get into we will be doing modulo with 3. So we can get only values of 0, 1 and 2, right? So here we are starting with 1, 1 modulo 3, that is 1. In the next iteration, it will have 2 modulo 3, that is 2. So the valid colors are 1 and 2, right? Now as soon as in the next iteration it becomes 3. Okay, so it will be 3 in the next iteration, it will be 2 plus 1 3, right? So 3 modulo 3 will be 0. So xi will be 0. Okay. So that is what it is checking, that if xi so if xk is equals to 0, it means that we have checked all the available color options for this vertex k. Okay. And we are returning assigning xk equals to 0. Okay. So what it is happening, so what it is doing, it is starting with color 1 and it is checking all the colors one by one within this loop. Okay. So initially we'll have the color value as 1 and we are going to check it with that color value 1. So how we are checking it, so if we look into the loop, there is another for loop within it. So we are checking that we know that we are assuming that the solution vector is already assigned from 1 to k, right here. So from 1 to k, all the values, all the vertices are assigned with some colors. Okay, from 1 to m. Now, now for all these colored vertices, we are checking that if there is an edge between them. I mean, if there is not an, I mean, if there is an edge between them. Okay, so that is this is not equals to 0. The adjacency matrix from k to j is not 0. Means there is an edge between them and they are having the same color. Okay, that is xk equals to xj. So we are assigning a color x in xk over here, and we are seeing that whether in this loop we are seeing that whether any adjacent vertex has the same color. Okay, so if an adjacent vertex has same color, we are breaking from this loop. So we are getting out of this loop, we are coming over here. Okay, and we are checking that if j equals to k, then we are returning. So what we are doing here, so see, from this for loop, we are we can get out in two ways via this break. Okay, so when it is breaking when when it founds that that an adjacent vertex has same color as this one. Okay, then it is breaking, right? So another way we are getting out of this loop is we can it is not breaking, so it will iterate over all the nodes, right, from 1 to k minus 1. Okay, so that's what it is checking, that if j equals to k, it means that it has iterated over all the iterations of the for loop, right? It is not breaking between the for loop, right? So it means that it hasn't found any matches with the adjacent vertices. Okay, so it can assign the color. So whatever color it has assigned in this step, that will remain and it will return from this function. Okay, and if it is not there, I mean, if it doesn't match, if this j is not equals to k, it means that the color that is assigned over here for k vertices will not be a valid color, because some of the adjacent vertices has the same color. Okay, so in that case this condition will be false and it will not return. Okay, so what will happen, so it will come to the next iteration and it will assign the next possible color, that is the plus 1 color. Okay, now likewise with the plus one color, it will again try to check whether this is a valid color, okay, whether none of its previously assigned vertices have the same color which is adjacent to it, okay. So this will be checked in the loop. So what will happen, so likewise it will check for all the colors up from 1 to m, and if it finds that okay, I have assigned a valid value, so it will return from here, and if it is not, if it is cannot assign any value from 1 to n, so this will eventually become 0, right? This will eventually become 0, and it will return from here, that, like it will check that it is 0 and it will return, okay. So this is what happening in this function, okay. So in this function we will have xk. When this function will return, I mean stop execution, when this function will stop execution, we will have x equals to 0. It means that no valid colors can be assigned to it, okay. And if we have like x k some values, if we some values between 1 to m, okay, if you have x k have some values between 1 to m, it means that some valid color has been assigned within it, okay. So this is what this bounding function next value is doing, okay. And using that bounding function, what we will do, we will use the m coloring algorithm, that is the backtracking algorithm, for checking that whether we can color it with the m colors, okay. So the backtracking algorithm is taking the adjacency matrix C, the solution vector x. So initially this solution vector will have all the 0 values, okay. So it is initialized with 0. The k means the kth node that we are recursively going to color. So when we will call the m coloring problem for the first time, for the first node, so we'll start with the first node, okay, node 1. So we'll pass the value of k as 1, and it will eventually go through uh, all the nodes recursively, okay. Next we will pass the m, that is the number of colors available, and n is the number of nodes, okay. So with all these parameters, we'll see what the algorithm will do. So this algorithm will return nil, okay, if not m coloring. Otherwise the x array will be populated with valid values from 1 to m, where xi denotes the assigned color of ith vertices, okay. And maximum of xi denotes the minimum color required. So what this will do, so see how this algorithm is working. So it is so for the first time it is called, it will be called with m coloring, with g, with x, and with the value of k as 1, okay. We are trying to find out the color for the first vertex, okay, and then the other parameters. So for this one, it is trying to find out the next value, okay. So what can be a valid value for 1. So if xk equals to 0, then return nil. So if it found that it cannot assign, so in the next value what we can see, we have seen that this xk is assigned 0 if a valid value is not found, right. So it will return nil. So as per our algorithm, it will return nil when it is not m coloring, okay. So xk equals to 0 means we cannot color this graph with the m colors, okay. Again, if xk equals to n, then it will return x. Return x means the solution vector. So sorry, k equals to n. So k equals to n means this is the last vertex, okay. So we are starting with 1, and if you see, we are recursively calling this backtracking algorithm, m coloring algorithm, with k plus 1, okay. So when we have first 1, so it will eventually call 2, and that will eventually call for node or vertex 3, and up to it will go n, right. So when recursively it will call for n, it will come over here, it will try to find out the next value for the nth vertices, okay. And if this condition is false, means it is assigned a valid value, it will come over here, and it will check that if k equals to n, means all the vertices has been colored with a valid value, right. So then it will return the solution vector x, okay. and otherwise if k is not equals to n, then it will try to find out the next trying to find out the next color for the next vertices. Okay, so so it will recursively call itself, and recursively it will then it will try to find out the uh, color using the next value. Okay, for this k plus 1 node. So this is how the algorithm will work. So for all the nodes actually, it will try to find out the next possible or available value that can be assigned to the kth vertices. And if it is 0, it means that it cannot be done with the m colors. And if it is not 0, uh, if it is not 0, then what we'll do, we try to color the next node. Okay, until we have reached the final node. So if we reach the final node while coloring this node one by one, it means that we can return the solution vector now, because we have colored all of them eventually. Otherwise we'll recursively call this for the next node. Okay, so this is what the dark coloring problem is and how we can solve it using backtracking algorithm. Okay, so if you have any question regarding this graph coloring problem, you can ask. So next we'll focus on what you have to do in lab. So for today, what you have to do, we'll implement both of the algorithms. Okay, one is NQueens, another is your graph coloring problem. So for that again, you write your details over here. Mm. So this is for NQueen problem. So in case of NQueen problem, what you have to do is to take the single integer n, okay, as input. N is the size of your chessboard. Okay, n by n is the size of your chessboard. So we'll get n as input, and then what you have to do, you have to since we are using a backtracking algorithm, right? So we'll need a solution vector. Okay, so we'll create the solution vector uh, x of length n. Okay, and what we'll do, we'll pass this solution vector and the first node number and the size of the board n to the function 2, which will implement the backtracking algorithm of solving the NQueen problem. Okay. So this function will return either a valid solution vector if a solution exists, otherwise it will return null. So if you can remember the backtracking algorithm of let me show you. So the backtracking algorithm takes as input the for NQueen problem, it takes the solution vector, the next row that we are considering, and the number of not number, the size of the the size of the board, right? So we'll pass those things. Okay, the solution vector x, the first row number. So in any backtracking algorithm, you can look that the first call you are making is for the first problem instance, right? So in case of input problem, we are when we are calling the backtrack algorithm, we are passing the row one or row zero, whatever you can say, right, as a parameter. Okay. In case of graph coloring problem, we are passing for the first call, we are passing the vertex number one. Okay. So that is the nature of backtracking algorithm. We start from the beginning and it will check all of them one by one. Okay. So first the solution vector x that you have created over here, then the row number and the size of the board n in the function 2, which will implement the backtracking algorithm for solving the n problem. Okay. Now this function will return either a valid solution vector if a solution exists, otherwise it will return null. So one thing is that I have updated this slide. This part was not there. Okay. So this part in your slide probably was not there. So I have updated it yesterday. So I will share this slide with you again. Okay. So X is filled up with proper color numbers if possible. Otherwise, it will return none or nil. So here again the same thing. So in the function 2, what we have, write a function that will take the solution vector, the row number, whether the next wheel will, where the next wheel will be placed, and the size of the board as input, and implement the backtracking algorithm for solving the end-to-end problem. Okay, so function 2 will implement the backtracking algorithm for solving the end-to-end problem. This method will return null if a valid assignment of queen is not possible. Okay, and from the method, so from the method you have to call the bounding function with proper parameter which is implemented in function 1. So this end-to-end problem use the bounding function place, right? So the place function is your bounding function. So this algorithm, the place algorithm, you have to implement in your function 1. Okay, so this function will take the solution vector, the row number and the column number as input, and check if the next queen can be placed in that row number on the and the column number. Okay. So if the queen can be placed at that row or column, it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. Okay. And this function assumes that the queens at all the previous rows has been placed in a valid position. So this is, I mean, this is one assumption which is almost true for any backtracking algorithm. So whenever we are considering for whenever we are considering for kth row, we are always assuming that all the values in the solution vector from 1 to k minus 1 is having some valid values, right? In case of graph coloring also, whenever we are trying to color vertex k, all the previous vertices from 1 to k minus 1, we are assuming that they are having some valid values. Okay. So this is your function 1. I mean the bounding function you have to implement. So once you get from function 2, so what is happening? You are calling the backtracking algorithm which is implemented in function 2, which eventually from it is calling the bounding function, okay, which is function 1. And finally the function 2 will return you the solution vector or null. Okay, so here in the next part in main, what if we is the function to return null, print a message is impossible. Okay, so if the backtracking algorithm return you null, then you have to return and you have to print impossible in your screen. Otherwise, pass this solution vector and the size of the board to function 3, which will print the configuration of the board, okay, using the solution vector. So suppose, so this is your function 3, it will take the solution vector and the uh, solution vector with valid queen position and the size of the board as input, okay, and it will print the board configuration for the solution. So for print the board configuration, what you have to do, you have to print a dash, okay, in every cell of the board where the cell is empty, okay, and it will have to print a X or a print a Q in the cell where a queen is placed. Okay. For example, if you have a solution vector like 1, 2, 3, 4, Okay, this function should print like this one. Okay, so this is your one. So 1, 2, 3, 4 means the column number of 1, column number 2, column number 3, and column number 4 for respectively row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. Okay, so this is how you have to print for the solution vector 1, 2, 3, 4, either with X or with Q. Okay, so this is what you have to do for end-to-end problem. And for the graph coloring also, so you have to implement this algorithm as well. Okay, for this session. So again, for the graph coloring, what you will have two inputs. One is the graph, another is the number of colors available to you. Okay, so take the number of vertices in the graph. Okay, say n, and the number of colors to be used, say n. Okay, these two you have to take, and then dynamically create a 2D array G1 to n, which actually represent the adjacency matrix. Okay, and then you have to take the uh, graph from user within this adjacency matrix. So you take the input of the adjacency matrix from the user, which will represent the graph we are considering. So once this input is taken from the user, what you have to do, you have to dynamically create an array uh, of create an array x of length n. So this is what this is the solution vector. Okay. So this array, so xi ith element in this array actually denotes the color of kth vertices, ith vertex. Okay. So what we will do next, we will pass the adjacency matrix, the solution vector, uh, the first vertex number. So again, when we are calling this backtracking algorithm, we are always starting with the first instance. Okay, so first vertex number, the number of colors and size of the graph to the function 2, which implements the backtracking algorithm for solving the graph coloring problem. Now, this function will either return a solution vector, valid solution vector, if the solution exists, otherwise it will return null. So So this is what it is. So it will return nil if not m coloring. Otherwise, it will return a valid solution matrix. Okay. So, sorry, valid solution vector. So if you look at function two, write a function that will take the adjacency matrix, the solution vector, the first vertex number, number of colors, and the size of the graph as input, and implement the backtracking algorithm for solving the graph coloring problem. Okay. This method will return null if a valid color assignment to all the vertices are not possible with m colors. Okay. So from the method, you have to call the bounding function with proper parameters. So uh, this is the description that we have just learned in our graph coloring problem. Okay. So in function one, we will be implementing the bounding function, which is next value, which is called next value in here, right? So this is your bounding function for graph coloring problem. You have to implement this algorithm in the function one. Okay. So that is it. So once once a output once some value is returned from this function two, you have to again check that if the function two returns null. So if the function two returns null, it means that we cannot. Uh, we have to print the message impossible. It means that we cannot color this graph, the given graph, with the m colors that is provided. Okay. Otherwise, print the solution vector only, which represent the color of the respective vertices. So this is what you have to do for the graph coloring decision problem. Okay. So this is for today. So what you have to do, you have to submit this two assignment, because since we are doing the graph coloring problem today, you have to submit this two assignment by next Tuesday, okay, back to our next theory class. So deadline for this, because we cannot do our theory classes yesterday. right? So we are having these two problems. So we have to submit these two assignments by next Tuesday, which is 28th of April. Okay, and uh, and for graph filing problem, so there will be no weekend fees for today. Okay, I mean for this week. Okay, since we are delayed. So what we will do? We will have the quiz on the weekend quiz on second. Okay, so we will expected to have some classes if it is not disrupted by any other causes on the 29th. Okay, so 29th we will have theory classes, and whatever will be taught in the class of 29th April, and whatever have been taught, that is the Kaplan problem today. These two, the test of these two will be taken on the April 2. Okay, so this weekend we do not have any test. We will have test on the next weekend. Okay, so the next weekend we will have test for both whatever we have taught today, and whatever that we will be going to teach on the next class. Okay, so these two together we will have test on the second April. No test for this weekend. Okay, so with this I think I would like to end the session. If you have any questions regarding anything, I mean regarding lab, regarding theory part. So I think we will now end this session. Okay.